to say hi to all the Meepleville community out there. I'm trying to learn Arkham Horror, the card game, right now. Wish we could be in Las Vegas so we could actually go see Meepleville, but we do love you guys.
Hi guys, Grant here, and as you can see, I'm having a llama. Wait, no, that's not right. I mean, our friends Jen and Steve Bishop are having a baby. They sent over a couple of pregnancy reveal pictures that they had sent to family and friends, so a big congratulations to them. I know they join us in chat every once in a while, so please give them a shout out when you see them. Hope everything is going well with you guys, and look forward to having your family grow on November 25th. Stay safe, guys.
Hello, Meepleville Board Game Cafe. This is Corey Brown. I'm the usual trivia guy at Meepleville. And I'll just let y'all know that trivia will restart at Meepleville at some point in the future once we get the green light from Tim and Grant. In the meantime, though, we will have online Twitch streamed trivia happening via the internet, which is pretty cool. We'll keep you updated on when the first online trivia event will be. But it'll be pretty cool, and I hope you participate from home. And then once things get settled in the COVID world we're currently living in, we'll have in-person trivia back in Meepleville very soon. Okay? So stay healthy. Everybody stay cool.
My computer. All right. Well, hello, everybody, and thank you for watching. Tonight, I am very pleased to introduce my guest. This is John Forte. And he is a game designer right here in Las Vegas, Nevada. So, John, you've been in Las Vegas quite a while, right?
Oh, 40 years. Yeah, long time.
He's almost a native Las Vegan, I guess you could say.
We'll call it native.
Yes, but as you can see, John has about, what, 4, 5, 6 games out in front of him there?
5 that I actually, yes, 5.
Yep, 5. And John is a game designer. As a matter of fact, one of his games right there, Mind Shift, is a Mensa award winner. So, John, I just want to tell us a little bit how you got started designing games.
Well, I was a home builder and sold the company and jumped on my motorcycle, started cross country, and kept taking pictures of the Welcome To sign. And somewhere in Nebraska, I said, boy, this would be a cool little board game. Travel the country and collect the signs, etc. And when I got home, found out my neighbor used to own over 100 game stores. So he was a pretty big player in the business. And so I knocked on his door, said hello, showed him my idea, and he drilled me. And that's when I realized I didn't know a thing about designing games. And he kind of helped me along and introduced me to a few people. And I guess this was probably the first game that actually got published. I took a trip to New York, went to Toy Fair, and just showed up and knocked on a couple booths and asked if I could show them a game. And I left that show with 2 license deals.
Oh, nice. So did you ever make a game from the Welcome To signs that you got?
I did not. I did not. I actually made the board. I got all the pictures. The motorcycle trip, I went to almost every state, so I had most of the photos. Took a few off Google, made some cards, and it is now in a pile with, another 50, 60 Ziploc bags full of ideas.
Yes, I know you do have a lot of them. And so just real quickly, because you mentioned quickly about Michael, who used to live next door to you. Unfortunately, Michael passed away, but he did own 100 stores. They were the Gatekeeper, I believe, right? Or the Gamekeeper, what was the name of the store?
Gamekeeper, correct, yeah.
A Gamekeeper Games.
Gamekeeper.
Yep, Gamekeeper. And Michael was a designer himself also, so that was kind of like your mentor.
Yes, yes. He helped me a lot. He looked at my rules, and a couple games I handed it to him. He just looked. He said, "No, they're too long," and he just gave it back to me. He did not even read it. And I said, "Oh." So he was a different kind of game designer. So I know some games now have pages and pages, but he was keep it simple, teach it in 5 minutes. He was kind of a design backwards kind of guy. He would come up with a title first and then make the game.
Right.
So he says most people buy it by looking it on the shelf and the game catches them. So that was his kind of, that's the direction he took. And it works for some and it doesn't work for others. But
Yeah, and then he introduced you to Keith, right? Keith Myers. Who's
Keith Myers, yeah, absolutely. And Keith was in town, and Michael called me, said, "Come on over. There's a guy I want you to meet." And I brought over my prototype of Scramblets and Mindshift, and I showed it to him, and he gave me 3 or 4 companies to call, and he said, call them, tell them, use my name, tell them I sent you, and he was, a great help. I'd like to think I could have made that connection on my own, but would have taken me forever probably, and both of them were great help.
Right. So let's talk about, you said Scramblets was your first game that you had designed. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So what was the actual, like, when a lot of times when people design games for the very first time, they come up with, say, their own title, their own name. So what was the original title you would come up with for Scramblets?
Yeah, and none of these games were actually published under the title that I submitted. And mine were all license deals. I didn't publish these on my own. So, they make you an offer, you get the contract, and they pretty much take over the rights to your idea. They can change artwork, they can change title, they can do all that. But the companies I dealt with were included me through every step and listened to ideas I had and implemented their own as well as mine. So this one started off as a flip-flop, and it's all about flipping tiles and making patterns. And it's kind of like a Sudoku feel where you can get to the last tile and realize that it didn't work, because each tile has a white back and a black back. So if you happen to use the white where you needed white in the pattern, but it should have been the black, you get to the last tile and it doesn't work. So it's a pretty simple race game where everybody starts at the same time and just flips tiles to make their pattern. And if they do, they get the card. First one to 7 cards, wins the game.
Very, very good. So you said you had taken these games to New York Toy Fair. So why, out of all the possible other options maybe to go places like they got the Shy Tag and Toy Fair, why did you choose New York Toy Fair to go to for your first event?
Well, I guess it was the show that Michael talked about, Keith talked about, that everybody talked about. Now we're talking 10 years ago. I spent about 3 years doing this, and then I took a long time off. So I'm just getting back into it. So hopefully I will be going to all the other ones that have evolved, since I was in it. So that was the big show at the time.
So before you went, what was your game plan? Like, how many prototypes did you go with? How many meetings did you make? What was the game plan for your first toy fair?
My first show, I didn't have a game plan. It was really just a trip to see what it was all about. It's pretty overwhelming. The space, I'll say it's equivalent to going in, 10, 15 Home Depots.
It's at the Javits Center, correct?
Yeah, row after row after row. And keep in mind, I had a couple companies that Keith had recommended that I was targeting. So I didn't go planning, 20, 30 meetings. So, I stopped by those booths, on a regular basis, hoping to get a meeting because I didn't set one up. And they allowed me to show the games. And, I actually walked away with 2 companies wanting this game right here.
Wow. Okay.
They ask you for a prototype. You show up with one. So you say, when I get home, I'll send you one. So I got home and I sent both companies the prototypes. And I remember I was on the elliptical machine at home working out, and I got the phone call. And one company said they wanted both games, Mindshift and Scramblets.
Nice.
So probably, one of the most exciting moments in my life. I hung that phone up and I just screamed out loud. And,
Very good. Yeah, well, that's a great accomplishment. So let me ask you, so then so how does the process go? So when a company calls you and they want one of your games, what kind of like length of contract, or how does the ownership go? Explain a little bit about that part of it.
I was pretty new, and again, I let Keith look at the contract that came in, and he suggested a few changes. But I was a newbie, so to get a published game was I wasn't in it for the money. I wasn't in it for anything other than to get my name on a box. To see something go from a piece of paper, which is how I submitted these. Scramblets was submitted on cardboard tiles that I just, cut and glued on a design off the computer. Mindshift was submitted with, 4x4 cardboard tiles and little glass beads that I got at Michael's. So none of these were high-end prototypes. And I asked everybody that I showed it to, is this prototype sufficient? They said, oh, absolutely. As long as we get it, we take it from there. So, nowadays, people are so into Illustrator and 3D printing, and they make some gorgeous prototypes, which I'm sure, gains a few extra points. Back then, it wasn't as popular to really make high end. So you show it to the game, they give you 5 to 10 minutes. You show them a game, and they say, I like it. And they say, can I have that prototype? And you say, well, it's the only one I brought to the show. I got some other meetings. I'll send it to you when I get home. So when you get back to town, you wrap it up, you send it off with the, one-page set of rules, and they look it over. They call you and say, we like it. We're going to send you a contract. They send it to you. And then, a little bit of negotiation back and forth. But I really didn't care what the offer was for the first time. And then, so you sign up, and then they do the artwork, they revamp the rules, the box, the design. They get you involved, see if you like it, and that's it. And then you sit back, and they send you a check every 3 months.
Right, but so like how long of a contract do you have, and how does the ownership go? Like, is it like, do they own the game forever? Do you have a 3-year, 5-year? Like, how does that work?
Well, most of the games have a 3 to 5 year life, and they kind of just fizzle. And
then after that time, does it come back to you?
Yeah, it comes back to you. And when they don't, sales will start, up here at first, and each year it'll drizzle down. And then they pretty much determine, hey, we're not selling enough games anymore. So it just fizzles. So these all last, this one I think was 5 years. This one was pretty good, 6 or 7. This one is actually still selling, which is pretty cool. I designed this to help my daughter with her reading. And, when your head goes like this, when you're reading a book, it's called tracking. So this is Itrax, which is a maze type game, puzzle, where you got to use different lengths of sticks and duplicate a puzzle, and you're constantly going like this, with the maze. And this one was sold to Learning Resources, which I'm really excited about, because when I asked them how many other designers they work with, they said I was the first, because they're all teachers. Right. And they do their own games, their own styles. So for them to say across the board everybody liked it was pretty exciting. So
out of all the games, out of all the games you have right there, how many are still actually in circulation?
Just Itrax.
Okay, so Itrax is the only one in circulation. Does that mean you own back your games now, and you can go and resubmit them, or another publisher may be able to pick them up?
Yeah, I could. I haven't. Like I said, I'm just getting back into it. I've got a couple designs I'm working on now, and hopefully I'll be at Toy Fair, next February. Would like to go to CHTAD, but if I'll make it by November, I'm not sure. I've got a house I'm revamping and woodworking projects that just taken up a lot of my time. So we'll see.
And so even though the game, so nobody is selling them anymore, so a lot of those checks have dwindled down then, I suppose, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the only one I get a check from now is Itrax. The rest are not being published anymore, so that reverts back to me. I do what I want with it.
Right. So like Mindshift. So that was an actual Mensa award winner. So how are you notified about that, and how did that make you feel?
It was pretty amazing because, you know, I got calls from other game companies that I had submitted games to in the past to congratulate me. So that, you know, was pretty exciting. Is as big as the industry seems, it's pretty small. And after you make a few meetings and you present a few games, I would like to say that they remember you. And, you know, I made up my own little thank you cards with my logo on it and, you know, sent those out every time I would meet with someone or present something. And that logo, along with the logo on my business card, you know, kind of put two and two together, and they kind of remember them. And, you know, some of the people I'm friends with on Facebook still. And then I actually got calls from some of the Mensa players that actually play games. I don't know how many they get together and they play games for 3 days straight. And,
nice.
you know, when a guy calls and says, hey, I'm part of the Mensa group, I played your game, I'm excited to see what you come up with next, I really enjoyed the game. I can't explain that feeling.
It must feel good. It must
Yeah,
feel
I mean, I've been kind of an entrepreneur all my life. I've done a lot of different things, never really worked for anybody. This is right up there with, you know, when they say they want your game and then you see it on a store shelf and then you see your name on the back of the box and, you know, you win a few awards and people call to congratulate you. It's really the reason I'm getting back into it.
Yes. Well, John, we would like you to get back into it. And thank you very much for taking the time to spend with us tonight. Really appreciate it. And folks, just so you know, John actually spoke at, what was it, the first or second MeepleCon? I think it was the first one. And you did it again another year too, right? And you've also spoken at Meepleville, also to the board game design group there. John is a wonderful guy. He is always willing to help with designs and stuff like that. And as you see, he's got 5, is it John, 5 published games?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a great resource that we have right here in Las Vegas. He's a very good friend of mine, very close friend of mine. So you'll see him popping into Meepleville occasionally. And he's always willing to help. And we can't wait to see your next game.
I'm working on it.
Yes, so hopefully it'll be soon. Don't put it off too long.
I'm trying.
All right, well, thanks again, John. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, so yeah, so we'll just, let me stop recording there.